Go. Okay, I think we're working now. Should see it pop up on the phone. First
We're,
minute's always awkward.
we're much
There we go.
better at generating leads than we are
At Facebook Live. I know every
Facebook
single
Live.
one.
So,
Every single one.
all right,
It's
there we go.
embarrassing. All
We're
right.
I think we're
officially
on
up
now.
and running. Ha!
Okay, we're on now.
It's Casual Friday. We're in hoodies. TJ's got a hoodie on. Keith has his Friday best. He wears that to closing.
The Nutra Shop.
Fantastic. So for those of you who don't know Keith, Keith is a fantastic LO in Tennessee. Keith is as much of a student of marketing and lead gen as TJ and some of you in this group, and we like a lot of the things that he's done. He's going to talk about some of the cool stuff that he's implemented. But what we really wanted to do today was stop for a few minutes. Hopefully we'll keep this short, 15 to 25 minutes, and talk to you about generating that lead that's ready to get approved to be approved today, or some lead that you can potentially hand over to a realtor, and doing it now. You know, getting those buyers when they first start to get that spring itch and they see rates are going up. Now, obviously, we don't have to tell you guys about bonds and rates, and so many of you said, "Oh man, if I just had more leads, if I had more buyers, if I had more people reaching out to us, I'd feel a lot better about my winners." So TJ and Keith are going to talk a little bit about what they're doing. TJ is going to talk about some of the things that he's helping loan officers all over America do. But most importantly, we hope you guys pick up some tips that are going to help you bring in another deal or two or five or whatever. So something like that, right, TJ?
Something like that.
Cool. Guys, we're winging this one today. This one's not scripted.
Yeah, as usual, there's no agenda, there's no bullet points. Officials like, dude, let's do a Facebook Live. And Keith and I are like, okay, whatever you want, brother.
Well, Keith, let's start out with you, man. I know you and TJ were talking yesterday about some of the leads that you've pulled in. You know, what's your cost per lead? I mean, what's the conversion? You're actually pulling mortgage leads off of Facebook, which is a little bit harder, a little bit more rare. And many of us are working real estate leads, but just talk a little bit about what's working for you right now.
Sure, okay, all right. So my cost per lead, as you said, and this is all TJ's system. So I'm talking about the Lola system, TJ's system, the Facebook ad system. I'm running exactly what he does. So exactly what it says is exactly what I ran. I didn't change it one word. And my cost per lead, actually, let me pull it up real quick. I don't know if I can show it on the screen, can I? It won't be too difficult. I don't know.
You could do a screen share. Yeah, there's a
I can? Okay, here, let me pull it up real quick. Hold on. So it's about $2.50 or so per lead, somewhere in there.
$2.50 per lead.
Yeah, about $2.50 per lead. Here's the results so far. So we ran one campaign. It was 36 leads have come in so far. I'm gonna pull up the spend for you too. I'm gonna go over exactly what it is. Sorry, my computer's taking a minute to come up. How do I do that share? You click on
There's a button off to the right. It's
I
just
see it.
screens. Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
hold
all
on a
good.
second.
It's
Sorry
all
about
good.
this.
So that's okay. While you're pulling that up, is it the Zillow killer strategy that you're doing?
It is, yes. Look, the ads manager is loading. Hold on a second. Can you guys
Because
see
the
my
Zillow
screen?
killer is that's based on lead ads, right? It's a lead ad
Yeah.
strategy. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And your lead ads that one actually is kind of they're mortgage leads, but that one's revolving around a property, right? It's kind of a property opt-in.
That's right. So it's like a list type of thing or property opt-in, and you're offering a list to the masses out there, and they're basically requesting that list. Now, I'm going to pull this actual ad up for you too. It's 38. Actually, it literally There was two more that came in while we were talking. It's $2.71 a lead. We've spent $103.10 so far, and there's your reach and your impressions. And out of that, we've pulled 4 credit reports, okay? So let me kind of explain the way I do this too. So I used using TJ's system, but what I'm doing is I'm not calling these at all, okay? These are real estate leads. So when I enter into the transaction with the agent, I say, look, this is your deal. I'm not an agent. You guys need to call these leads. I give them the scripts and stuff that TJ has, tell them exactly what to say, and send them off to call. Well, out of these 38, and she's calling and texting immediately, we've pulled 4 credit reports, so she's kicked me back 4, and 2 of those are pre-approved, and I believe I've got 1 contract in this morning. I haven't really completely checked yet, but I think I've got 1 contract coming in. If not, it'll be in today, because this girl was going to make an offer yesterday when I talked to her.
So you're at $103 right there, 103.10, knowing that we had a couple more that came in, right?
Yeah.
So for $51.55 per pre-qualification right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can find me a place where I can put $50 in and get, let's call it a $150,000 deal back, and if you're making a point, $1,500 back off of that, I'll do that all day long, every single day.
Yeah. I'll tell you the best part of this too, and I talked to you about this yesterday, TJ. I'm not paying for these things at all. The agent, actually the broker is. So what we went in is I went in and set up this system to where the broker is going to provide leads to the agents through me, through how I set it up. And of course, what the broker is going to do is they're going to reduce the split, right, of the agent.
Right.
And they're going to now be able to provide leads. And he wants to ramp this up. I didn't really talk to you about this, but this is kind of a test market, and he wants to ramp this up with like 20 agents. We've got to get it under control, make sure that everything's working. I'm probably going to have to hire a couple people to help me, honestly, because if we ramp up to 20 people and we're running, 20 at $20 a day, and remember, he's paying for all of this. All I have to do is convert them into pre-approvals.
Right.
So I think that's going to scale really well. I'm really excited about it, dude. I think it's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I spoke to a broker the other day who he just pumped. He's bleeding money on Zillow right now. And I told him, I said, look, I can get you the same results. Maybe a little less, but it's going to be at a fraction of the cost of it. A fraction of the cost. And so we're doing a test run with him. He's super excited about that. Just because it's the same thing. He's like, okay, let's say the results are half. I think the number I always refer to is Zillow says their conversion ratio is 4.5%. Let's say we're at 1%, 2%. But if a Zillow lead's costing you $40 or $50 per lead, and we're spending $2, that percentage difference is well worth it all day long. So I think you kind of stumbled onto you hate to say a niche, but a great approach to this, right? Is find that broker that wants to break into a market, or find that broker that's tired of putting so much money out on stuff that's not working for them, or it's working for them, but it's not the ROI that they want from it. They're immediately increasing their ROI by you decreasing their costs.
Keith, what did you do to train them to follow up? I mean, I know you mentioned the system that TJ has in that course, but did you meet with them? Did you go through the follow-up system with them one-on-one, or did the broker teach them? How did you guys lay all that out?
Yeah, well, when we sat down with the broker wanted me to do about a 30-minute coaching call with them once a month, just to kind of keep them on track with the scripts and everything. And I did the first 30-minute coaching call already with her, and we'll probably do a little bit more than that till I get a good system built up and everything. But I want to get those to where I'm doing maybe 1 to 2 30-minute coaching calls a month, and that's it. and then that gives them the scripts and stuff like that that they need to use so they stay on the same path that they need to be on the calls and texts and stuff. But when we sat down, he said, man, this is awesome, but you've got to help me keep them calling and under control, making sure they're using the right scripts and they're following up. One of the biggest things he was worried about, the broker was, look, if I'm going to spend this money, I want to make sure that these guys are making those calls and texts no matter what. And he wanted me to put something in place actually to check that. So that's something that we're working on too, where we kind of follow up with them to make sure that they're making those calls, you know. But yeah, it's awesome, dude. I love it.
Hey, Keith, just let you know, one of the things that I'm working on inside of our automation is going to be to have an email going out to that agent every day for that particular lead that says what the responsibilities are for that day, type of thing. So the LO will get it, and the agent will get it as well. And it'll just have a breakdown like LO to call, agent to call. It's all based off my, I've spoken about before, that 10 strikes and you're out lead follow-up system that I'd love to say I created, but I got a hold of 10 years ago that I've kind of modified and been using for some time. So
yeah.
I think it won't guarantee that the agents are calling it, but they'll at least have that in front of them that they can say, hey, I need to do this. Real quick, Kevin Branch asked a question. Are you guys splitting these ads with the realtor? And if so, whose page are you running them from? So that's really up to you. It's that Keith is having the agent pay for, or the broker pay for it all. Me, I'm taking more of a Zillow approach where we're splitting the cost with this, and then I'm running it from a generic page, not TJ Barker specific, not the real estate agent specific with that. And when you get the ad, how do you get those over to the agent? So, Kevin, we have what we suggest. No one's required to do this, but what we suggest is we built out an automation, and we show you how to do it, where you're going to get that lead first, so you can try and make some contact with that lead, and then 30 minutes later, the agent gets the lead as well. The goal being that us as a loan officer, if we can kind of get in there and warm it up a little bit when we hand it over to the agent, it's a little bit more of a warm referral. Agents dig that. They really eat that up more so than just a link that says, here's a lead. But no matter what you do, you just set some type of automation that somebody's getting that lead. The agent's getting that lead at some point, so you can work it as quickly as possible. So, all right, sorry, Fish, go ahead and take back over, man. Just want to ask.
No. I always like to ask questions. I don't have anything valuable to add here, but I was going to ask, what would you normally say as a loan officer, or what would your follow-up text or email be when you first get the opt-in? It's an opt-in for somebody looking for like a list of homes or information on a particular property, right?
Yeah.
Depends on what campaign you're running, right? I mean, so it's going to be different depending on what approach you take.
But it's congruent with the type of campaign that you were running.
Correct.
So you have to teach your agent how the leads come in, what the folks are actually looking for, and make sure that when they're following up, this is really important with Facebook marketing, the message and the response matches the ad.
Right.
If somebody's looking for a list of homes, you're not reaching out and asking if they want to be pre-qualified for a USDA loan.
Right. You're not asking them for their DD-214 if they're coming in asking for a list of homes.
And I know that sounds simple, but we watch LOs and agents mess this up all the time. They don't actually ever look at the ad. They, maybe pay somebody else to do it, or have their company do it, and next thing they know, they're asking people the wrong questions, and they can't get follow-up with it.
Yeah, so I would say a couple things with Facebook marketing as far as what mistakes that obviously all three of us have made, and that we see a lot of people make. It's exactly what you said. The page and the ad and the follow-up not matching up type of thing. Like a lot of us, I know we like to have our TJ Barker mortgage expert, smartest guy in Maryland Facebook page, but then we're running an ad for a list of homes, right? So got to keep in mind these homes lists, and we run them, and they're very common. So, Fish, we've been running them for years, right? Mm-hmm. This ad that we run is a version of an ad that I ran with a real estate agent, before you and I even met. Type of thing. That's how long this style has been out there. But then if all of a sudden I'm responding to them immediately, trying to hammer them over the head to get their social security number, date of birth, and W-2s. That's probably not the right way to do it, which I'm very guilty of. I don't know about you guys, but man, when I've run these things and I've gotten that lead and I'm like, holy shit, Barker family needs to eat this week. We need to book a deal here, so we're going to get in there, and here's my app, and here's my phone number, and when you want to meet, and send me your tax returns, and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's, one of the big things. I think the other major issue that we see when people are running ads, and anyone wants to do it themselves, is not picking images that make sense for your area, right? So, and how many times have we seen it? Someone's like, hey, get a list of homes, and they're targeting people who are first-time home buyers, and they put frickin', Trump's Florida home, whatever the hell that thing's called, like in the image. And, the average person who's flipping through their Facebook feed and it's like a first-time home buyer is only buying a $150,000 townhouse, isn't going to see that mansion and connect with that and have that emotional connection. Does that make sense, boys?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So you're currently running the Zillow strategy, Keith. That's like a lead ad opt-in, and you're running it through a community page, but you're leveraging those leads. Are you actually getting some traction or getting some referrals from that particular office, or is it a newer office?
Yeah. Well, here's what's interesting about that. So, brand new agent, right? Never dealt with her before. This is the one that was designated to try this out with the broker, and we immediately start running ads and leads, and she's calling them and talking to me and stuff like that, and talking about what they need, and one of them actually yesterday had been screwed over by Quicken, like drastically screwed over by Quicken, and they didn't want to talk to anybody anymore. And I kind of softened that and explained everything to her. And what happened is she started sending me the other people that she was dealing with also. So she said, hey, I've actually got this other couple that their score's like 610 or so, and they want to buy. Can I send them to you also? I said, absolutely, of course. So that really created a relationship to work more with her as well altogether. You know what I mean? So we got a new deal from that. So I wouldn't say it was just the 2 deals I pre-approved. There's one more on top of that she's kicked me on. Now, it's a little hairy. I'll have to work on it for probably about 4 months or so, but it's a deal. And I've never talked to that lady before this ever before. She's brand new.
It's cool. So
yeah.
I know we in LOA and LOLA, we often talk about leveraging the leads to create relationships and focusing as much on opening doors as we focus on closing leads. So, I mean, that's a good example. You're opening a door, you're building a relationship. It's not necessarily just a take. It's you're giving them something in return, giver's gain. We say the same things on a lot of these calls, but we say them because they're very, very important. So, the big piece people are watching right now, they're like, okay, that's great, TJ and Keith, you guys have this secret and you figured out how to generate the leads, but I don't know how to do this. I'm not techie. When I try to do it, it costs me $50 a lead. I don't believe it's that simple. Keith, I know, you've got a marketing background and I've heard you got virtual assistants, all that kind of stuff. Can you guys just dispel the myth that this stuff is hard and that, you need to pay a lead provider $50 for a lead to do this stuff? I guess maybe let's start with you, Keith, because you're not necessarily part of the Lola team. You're just you're a student and you're just pumped up because of the results that you're having.
Yeah, I would say, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's not something that you have to just assume can't be done, right? You don't have to pay $50 to $100 or so per lead for this stuff. That's not necessary. What's cool about TJ's system is it breaks it down exactly how to do it, start to finish. Yes, you have to watch the videos and stuff like that, but it breaks it down exactly on how to do it. Now, what I've done is I've let my virtual assistants go in there, and I learned the basics from TJ's system, and then I let them go in there and learn the detail and everything to where they can do it for me. They can scale it. So if I have one person over here that's ready to go, the issue becomes if if they get excited, which they will when they know they've got 2 deals coming in the pipe from this, they're going to say immediately, I want to do this for the whole office, right? So when they do that, I have to be ready to scale that. Now, what that means is I've got to go copy that ad and change it around and move it to the point where we can run it for 20 agents, maybe like that. That can't be done by me. That's not possible. I don't have time to do that. That's where my virtual assistants come in, where they go in and they scale those ads and they duplicate them over and over. They set up the automations and stuff like that. So the answer to the long answer to your question is no. It's not. It's not too difficult that somebody can do it. You just have to have a way to do it. And TJ's system is that way to do it.
I dig it. Now, sometimes scaling, I found that before you go too deep into scaling, you got to really understand there is a point of diminishing returns. And I've read a lot of books and watched a lot of webinars on this, where at some point, no matter how much money you dump into an ad, you can't always 10x it. You might be able to double, triple, or quadruple, or 5x. So, like you said, you do have to be careful before you run into an office and promise them the Holy Grail. And you certainly want to be judicious about who you're working with. I like how you went higher end and went to the broker and got somebody who could take action. Like if you had leveraged these 1 or 2 leads with a brand new lower producer agent that's going to be out in the business in 3 weeks, your results would not be the same. But the challenge that you have is scaling. Well, that's a different challenge. Maybe you can scale, maybe you can't. But either way, you're providing value to this office.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
So TJ, what's for folks that don't have virtual assistants? We have people that come in and ask about LOLA, or they learned some of the lead ad stuff in LOA or from somebody else or whatever, and they just freak out because it's so difficult, and they think, well, the first step is I need to get a CRM, and once I get that CRM, then I can go do my ads, and I haven't had time to watch all TJ's videos. Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, is it really that hard to get one of these ads up and going?
No, I mean, I did a video in the Leads Academy group yesterday where I think I started one from start to finish in 20 minutes, right? And that was actual creation of the images and everything. Now that I have my images created, I could get it knocked out in 5 minutes because I have my audience saved, I have my images created, etc. So what we've done in Leads Academy, and I think, look, I would love to sit here. I've never bullshitted anybody about this, right? I've never sat there and said, you know something, I am the Facebook guru, and I have gone out there and created everything. I created Facebook. Don't know if you guys know that. I created Facebook and Facebook ads, but I've never done any of that, right? It's always been, I have gone, I have purchased, I have learned, I have tested, I have failed, I have tweaked until we got to the point that we found something that works, right? We found that sweet spot that's kind of worked and has allowed us to have success with this. And, it started off with lead ads. Fish, you and DJ were talking about lead ads. I remember it was a year and a half ago we were talking about it, and it was we were still trying to figure out what the hell it was and how we want to set it up and build out automation, all this kind of stuff. And I just never stopped playing with it until it worked. Now everybody is out there doing lead ads, which is cool because it's effective, right? So it's good.
I see it. Facebook knows how to target me because I like ads, but I see 5 posts every single day on why I should do lead ads.
Yeah, at least. It's good. It works. So, but basically what we've done is, I think where we have done something a little bit different is we have built it out in the structure, and Keith alluded to this, where you're just not just jumping in and running VA ads, right? Or to get a VA purchase or a 2 or 3K or USDA or anything like that. We're kind of starting you off with a simple thing, which is what we call the Zillow Killer, which is our lead ads campaign that we've been talking about here because it really keeps your price down. It gets you comfortable with generating leads and building leads and setting it up. And we built each video into this 10 to 15 minute long video where you're just not drinking from the fire hose and getting overwhelmed, where you're doing a step-by-step thing. And from there, once you've gotten that down, then you can move into the long form stuff. our version of long form leads, or it's a true consumer direct mortgage lead. The VA stuff. I don't run the VA leads myself anymore. Just in my area, they've gotten a little too expensive. But they're still $10 to $12 per lead, and you can go out there and buy them for $40 to $50 per lead if you wanted to. So if you're going to run them for 10 to 12. Me, so I don't do it. Jason down in North Carolina, he's been running it, and he's having some good success with it as well. So it's cool. And then then we get into even more technical strategies or campaigns. But you're kind of progressing through it to the point where you're starting off with your training wheels, and you're getting comfortable, talking about this and sharing it with your agents, and then you're moving to some more advanced stuff, and finally you're going to some really, really cool stuff. So I'll tell you right now, the biggest piece with us, I think where most people get tripped up, is the automation, right? It's the automation, and it's the Zapier. Not going to lie, yeah, that confuses me sometimes. So I spent last week on the phone with Zapier, or emailing Zapier back and forth about some crazy stuff, trying to get it knocked out. But even that, what we've learned is that we've got to take some of that automation stuff and simplify it so people understand a little better to implement from there. So I think that if where people get confused, or folks get confused the most, and guys, you can I agree or disagree, but I think it's when we start getting into that automation piece, which is what we all want, is to have our follow-up done for us. But here's the deal. You don't need to have that. To have success with Facebook advertising, you need a Facebook account, $10 a day, in a CRM. And you don't even need a CRM, but it's good to have one. Facebook account, $10 a day, and to take a little bit of manual labor and send some text messages and things like that. But you can absolutely be successful that way. You don't have to get to the, I talk about all the time, where I'm USDA is right now pretty effective for me. I was pulling long form leads about $5 per lead. It's actually down to about $3 per lead right now with long form USDA ads, man. It's pretty cool. I don't know how long that's going to stay like that. That's kind of like the P90X. Not results aren't typical disclaimer with that one, but I want to run it as long as I can, and I want to take advantage of it as long as I can. So the other thing I would say is full disclosure again. This is nothing. What we talk about in the Leads Academy is nothing that you can't go and learn on your own, right? It's nothing you can't go out and buy different courses, and exactly what we did. Pull information out of different courses and different trainers, etc., and learn it on your own. Hell, some of the landing pages that we use, I bought from somebody else, and now I'm seeing people resell them. And I'm like, okay, that's cool because it works. But I think we've done a really good job of taking a lot of good stuff that works, putting our own spin on it, our own feel on it, but also approaching it from the mortgage originator standpoint. Because a lot of these people aren't originators, right? They're not going through what we go through on a daily basis and dealing with what we deal with on a daily basis. They're folks who took a marketing course and all of a sudden can tell us as LOs what we need to do and how we need to do it, and how we need to go out and meet realtors and talk to realtors and all that kind of fun stuff. So anyway, off my soapbox. Sorry about that.
No, that's good, dude. And you brought up a good point, and that's you created a community. We like to use that word a lot. Sometimes they say network, sometimes they say community, but you created a community of loan officers that are dedicated to at least figuring out how to do some of this stuff themselves before they pay people a ton of money to do it. Like you, Keith, you could have gone out and just bought leads, but you spent a little bit of time learning how to do it. You spent a little bit of time learning how to train virtual assistants, and your cost is 1/10 or less of what it could be if you just paid somebody else to do it for you. So some LOs decide they don't have time to do that. That's okay, but TJ's created a fantastic community of LOs that try to keep it simple. They follow the recipes, and when they follow the recipes, it works. The last thing I'll say about that, though, is if you don't follow the recipe, you watch one video and then you try to become a master internet marketer. We see people do that all the time, right? I mean, they buy a course or they watch one of your videos and they think all of a sudden they've got a better idea than the teacher. But if you follow the recipe, we know pretty much in every market it's going to work. So.
And the thing is, in some markets, campaign A may not work, but that's why we have campaigns B, C, D, and E in there as well, right? Because it's not the same in, what do I always call it? Novi?
Novi.
No, I say Novi. Is it Novi or is it Novi?
It is Novi.
Okay, so in Novi, Michigan, or Bel Air, Maryland, or Pennsylvania, Tennessee, or wherever Keith is, type of thing. So it's not all the same, but I think we try to empower you to have a good understanding of marketing concepts. So when we build you out your base foundation for your audience and say this is where you start, you're learning how to tweak things and tweak images and add copy so it works for you. Because the person who sits there and tells you that what works for them in New Jersey is going to work in Sacramento, California, and it's going to work in Portland, Oregon, is full of shit, right? So it's just how it is. So the next thing I want to talk about, Fish, before I hand it back over to you, is Keith, and Keith's not going to put this out there because he came on to support us, so you want to support him as well. So Keith has a really cool thing. He spoke about his virtual assistants. They're not just his virtual assistants. He actually has a virtual assistant company, right, that he has trained in how to do all of this stuff. So we have some options on the Lola end to help people out, but if folks want almost a done-for-you type of system right there, once you've entered into Lola or any other type of lead program or whatever, Keith's assistants are awesome. They help you. You tell them what you want, and they're the ones who can go ahead and build it out. But ultimately, Keith, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are paint by number people. You tell them what needs to be done, when it needs to be done by, how it needs to be done, and they'll do it. So it's not a group of people sitting around brainstorming all day on how to make your ads better. You're going to tell them, me, the client, is going to tell them what I need, and they're going to go ahead and take care of it, right?
That's right. They've learned from your system, so they've gone in your system and learned everything that's in there. And this isn't, these aren't people sitting like in a hut in the Philippines. This is a company in India, from a CEO all the way down to your virtual assistant, and these guys are managed. So when I talked about scaling before, if you guys went out and hit one of these huge shops where there's 400 agents, and you wanted to do that, now you'd have to hire LOs in order to take the pre-quals. But you could literally do that with my company, where we scaled to that level just because of the way I've set it up. But yeah, that's exactly, I appreciate that. That's exactly what we have. It's a managed virtual assistant company that surrounds all these different systems like a Facebook ads, listing booster. We generate leads for agents and things like that online for you, just a bunch of different things. But I don't want to go through this. This is your time, TJ, I appreciate that. But if somebody does want to go to that next level and sub all that work out, just message me, or I've got a group I can add you into or whatever, and we'll get you started on that. And on those lines, this system is amazing, guys. If you don't have it, go ahead and get it. And when you do, I can run all of it for you. You literally don't have to do anything inside of it if you don't want to. My team knows all that stuff. But the bottom line is you have to buy the system first, because you need to know the basics, period, to do it before you start. You know what I mean?
Yep, you got to know how it works before you can manage it. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that once you do learn TJ's system, it just starts making you open your mind to what you can do on Facebook. I mean, TJ and I were talking about it, yesterday, about hitting agents, right? Hitting actual agents with ads online with some of the stuff that we do. Actually, you could just hit agents with what you're doing here. Hey, I can generate Facebook leads for you. You could literally put that ad in front of 1,000 agents or 10,000 agents in your area. Once you start doing this and learning this from him, you can kind of open your mind up to all the other things that you can do online through Facebook also, and you'll understand it. When I first started learning, it took me a little while to get it. It took me a little while to understand, okay, there's the campaigns, the actual ads themselves, and then the targeting and everything. But once I went through all that and I learned it, it was second nature at that point. So,
cool.
So yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
all right, Fishy. It's been.
All right, man. Well, yeah, let's wrap this up. So,
Yep.
we talked about helping people maybe get some last minute leads, stuff like that, and then we talked a little bit. Perhaps some of the things we described sounded really complicated. If somebody's brand new, how long is it going to take for them to, reach out, get into Lola, learn a little bit, and actually see leads coming in?
I mean,
how long would it take them? How many hours?
Have leads coming in within 2 hours of getting your campaign set up. It's just how I like to see people take about a week to come in, watch the videos, watch them again, right? Because and get a comfort level with what you're doing. But if you're already comfortable with lead ads, all you need to do is just take our verbiage and set up the campaigns and the automation, and it'll be within, like I said, within a couple of hours. I mean, I can turn on an ad right now. I probably should have. I probably should have turned on an ad at 2 o'clock. I guarantee that I'd have leads by now. It's that quick. So that's our basic introductory type of thing. But I really think that, one, I know you can build a business off of it because we've seen people do it. But I think that is just really the first step in progressing and becoming a really, really good marketer, where you can have multiple campaigns running at one time, where it can be for your real estate agent, it can be consumer direct, and then as a loan officer, you're just kind of always having, you always hear about, multi-sources of income, right? You want to have a couple of different channels coming in. Same way with marketing and lead generation. If I had my way, rates will be lower, and I'd still be sending out mail, and I'd still be running some hot transfers, and I'd still be doing some Facebook marketing, and I'd still be doing some property direct marketing where we just always had something coming in. It wasn't just set up in one bucket. But I think with the Leads Academy, you can do that as well. Anyway, short or long answer to a short question, Fish.
That's all right, man.
So really within about 45 minutes.
Okay, cool. So if somebody wants to sign up for Leads Academy, what do they do next? And they want to get more info, like what do they do?
Yeah, I don't know. What do we decide? You just want to just message us? Message me.
Message TJ, message me. I'll send you back to TJ.
Let me know.
TJ will send you back to me. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, so I will say this, and kind of letting the cat out of the bag a little bit here, maybe. Fish and I have like 19 different things going at once, and we're awfully close to combining them into one here in the near future. And of course, if we do that, just what the hell, Leads Academy, Loan Officer Acceleration. It's starting to become too much for us to do both at the same time, right, Fish?
Yeah, we want to give all of our energy to everyone, and we don't want to spread ourselves too thin.
Yep, and also we still have to originate loans, which is where we have made mistakes in the past, is we put so much energy and effort into helping in these programs that we've impacted our personal business, which is still our ultimate, our primary source of income. So we're thinking March 1st. There's going to be some new super product, which will be a combination of the two. Obviously, the price point goes up if that's the case once we're wrapping them up right there. So if you're interested in either Leads Academy or Loan Officer Acceleration, just let us know. Right now, you can get both for $1,000, right, Fish?
At least through the end of the month. We're not sure about March 1st.
You can get both for $1,000. Loan Officer Acceleration is $500, and Leads Academy is $1,000. So we kind of do a little special for the Loan Officer Acceleration members where we take $500 off for the Leads Academy. So it's kind of, if you want to get both, it's $1,000. If you want Leads Academy, you get both of them at $1,000. If you just want Loan Officer Acceleration, it's $500. But the price points on the both of them are probably going up here in the near future. Well, as we do know, in the near future is March 1st. So just let us know if you guys are interested. But more importantly than anything, whether you join us or not, whether you work with Keith's VAs or not, whether you go to Acceleration or Leads Academy or MMBC, the lesson that I think that we're trying to put out there is get your marketing plan in place, get it up and running, combine organic and obviously paid to get it kick-started. Organic being still meeting with the agents, leveraging your marketing, your leads to meet with agents and start to build that relationship so you can be like Keith, who now has, 3 deals coming in off of $103 ad spend, plus he's got a broker, the guy who owns that entire organization, who loves him and now wants to scale this to the point that Keith's like, holy crap, how do I scale this? I'm going to have to hire more people. Not too bad for $103 total cost right there. And busting your ass too, right, Keith? You just didn't sit back when it came to you. You put a lot of time and effort into it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, awesome. Well, Keith, man, really appreciate you joining us. Fish, I want to let you wrap this one up, my man.
Cool, man. Well, that's all we got, man. If you want, you can find us on Messenger. You see us sitting here. Comment below. Hit us up. We'll chat you up. If you're stuck on your CRM and your automation and your posting, like Keith can talk to you about his virtual assistants. But either way, we want you guys to get your systems in place so you can start generating as many opportunities as possible this year. And that's what this was about. Whatever system you're using, get it in place now. Now is the time. You got, I'm going to say 2 to 5 weeks to get everything up and running, and then you're going to be out there chasing. So build it right now.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't need to be us. Something. There's a lot of good people out there. Just get something in place.
Yeah, now's the time to build for sure. 100%.
Cool.
All right, boys. Have a great weekend.